So when I grew my YouTube channel to 100,000 subscribers in my first year of doing YouTube, a big reason for that was because I hired a video editor. And so in this video, I want to answer the top questions some of you guys might have about video editing. For example, how to know when you're ready to hire a video editor, how much can you expect to pay for video editing, where do you even find video editors and how do you hire them? And once you've selected a video editor, what is the proper way to onboard someone, such as sending the proper contracts, brand guidelines, invoicing. And not only this, once they start working on the video, how do you actually share the vision that you have for your video? How do you communicate with them? What is the best communication tools to use? How many rounds of feedback is even normal and how to even give feedback, as well as how to make the most out of your video editor. And how do you know if the relationship that you have with your video editor is improving or if it's not improving and it's time to find a new one? Now, this is a very comprehensive video and I'm almost convinced that this is going to be the only video that you'll ever need about how to work with video editors. And so make sure you're leveraging the chapters below to get the information that you're looking for. Or you can increase the speed of the video by using the toggle below. Don't worry, I will not be offended. Now, without further ado, let's talk all about working with video editors. So how exactly do you know you're ready to hire a video editor, or why should you even hire a video editor? The first factor is when your inability to edit videos efficiently hurts your output. Now, this actually happened to me this year. So I've been doing YouTube for the last 6 years, and majority of those years I've always had a video editor. But in 2023, I took a year off, and when I came back, I was feeling really lost.
I don't feel like I have anything to offer.
And I didn't really feel in tune with being a creator. So I decided to let go of my video editor and edit my own videos so that I can really be in the weeds again. And that was what I needed at the time. But what I noticed is the moment I started editing my own videos, I was no longer consistent on YouTube and my output of videos was incredibly low. I even have a spreadsheet where I track this. So when I had a video editor between February and May, within those 4 months, we were able to do 11 videos. And the only reason why we weren't able to do weekly videos consistently wasn't necessarily because of my video editor, it was because of me. Okay, I was lagging on filming and I wasn't giving her enough videos. Now, the moment I decided to take the reins back and do my own editing between June to October, I was only able to do 7 videos in 5 months. So I had more time and I did less videos. So this goes to show that when I edit my own videos, I am a lot less efficient. Now, when I realized that I was the bottleneck to this process, I decided to rehire a video editor. And the moment that I rehired a video editor, we went back to at least doing 3 videos in a month. Now, the truth is, as much as we hate to admit it, social media, to a degree, is a numbers game. The person who uploads more consistently and more often will likely have higher chances to go viral, to be seen, to grow their audience. If you think about it, the person who's only doing 1 video a month only has 12 chances to be seen in a single year. Whereas the person who's uploading consistently every week, they have 48 chances to be seen in that year. So just based on sheer numbers, the chances of them growing their channel fast is much higher. Now, there are exceptions. For example, there's a creator called Life of Riza. She posts every blue moon, and whenever she posts, it always does really well. But you also have to keep in mind that she is a filmmaker, a cinematographer, a pro editor. She has really great storytelling. And so if you are someone who is choosing to not do a lot of videos, you have to make sure that they are incredibly high value and high quality. Another reason why I wasn't uploading as many videos when I was editing my own videos was because there was no accountability. Whereas the moment that I rehired a video editor and I knew that they were waiting on videos for me, I was able to actually get the motivation to film more videos in the first place. The second reason as to why you might want to hire a video editor, or how you know you're ready to hire a video editor, is when your skill set doesn't match the vision that you have for your videos. So in my case, when I decided to edit my own videos again this year, I really enjoyed being in the weeds and being in artist mode. And thanks to editing my own videos, I started feeling creative again. I started getting more ideas. But a lot of those ideas included a level of editing that I don't really have. I wanted to do more tutorial-based videos to really show you guys behind the scenes of my entire creative process. I also eventually wanted to do vlogs. Now, you might be thinking, Vanessa, why don't you just level up your video editing skills and save money? Well, that leads me to the next factor, and that is when you would rather be doing something else. In my case, when I was spending so much time video editing, I was taking time away from other tasks that would be a higher leverage for me. And here's what I've learned in the last 5 years of growing a business and having a team. And that is the two things that are very, very hard to outsource is your intellectual property, which is your thoughts, your stories, the information that you want to share, and also you physically showing up in front of the camera. If you can outsource everything else aside from those two, then you're going to be able to make your life a lot easier and in the long run produce a lot more, which will then increase the visibility that you have on social media. Now, at this point of the video, you might be super convinced that you need to hire a video editor ASAP. But more importantly, I want to talk about the last factor on when you know you're ready to hire a video editor, and that is when you have a really clear sense of direction on what you want your channel to be about, but also you have proof of monetization to justify the investment of hiring a video editor. For me, I edited my own videos for about half a year, and just through my own editing, I was able to get monetized, but also I was able to kind of just experiment for free almost. I did a lot of videos about finance, then videos about mindset, and then finally I was able to land on videos about social media. And so that was really my experimentation phase, and I feel like it would have been really stressful for me if I had hired a video editor on the get-go, paying all this money and not really knowing what the direction of my channel is going to be. Not only this, I also got proof that I could make money making videos. Back in 2019, I hired a video editor once I was monetized on YouTube, but beyond that, I found a way to make money on YouTube outside of making AdSense revenue. At the time, I was filming a lot of videos about social media, and I realized that this was a great way to actually get clients. And during that time period, I had closed about 2 to 3 clients and made my first $10,000 month. And I used a portion of that revenue to hire my video editor. And that reinvestment back into my channel really paid off because in that year, I made $500,000 in my business. And how I made that $500,000 was not only because I was able to post more videos because the video editor was helping me, but it was also because it freed up so much time for me to do other business related activities to grow my business. And so I had a really clear idea on how I was going to monetize my YouTube channel. Now, for some people, it doesn't necessarily have to look like getting clients. It could also mean getting enough consistent views and being monetized to the point where you have enough AdSense revenue to justify hiring a video editor. It could also look like signing your first brand deal and getting proof that there are brands that do want to work with you. For others, it could also look like having a steady paycheck somewhere else. There are a lot of people who do YouTube part-time and they have a full-time job on the side and they use their paycheck to reinvest back into their channel to save time, but also to grow a lot faster. And there are also people who have existing businesses outside of YouTube where they can actually use some of the money to fund their YouTube channel. But with that being said, it's really hard to justify hiring a video editor if you don't know the next important thing, which is how much you can expect to pay for a video editor. Now, back in 2019, when I started working with a video editor, they were charging me a flat rate. This video editor that I was working with was also new to the scene as well, and so I feel like their pricing really reflected their experience. Now, at $165 per video, if I did 4 videos, my invoice would be around $660, and when I did 2 uploads a week, it ended up being closer to $1,300 a month. Now, this is 2019 pricing, so I would assume that in today's prices, it's going to be a lot higher than this, but I just wanted to give you an example of what it looked like in 2019. Now, fast forward 3 years later with that same video editor, as they started scaling up their business, they decided to do an agency model, they started taking on more clients, they started to increase their prices, which on one side, I was really happy for them, but on the other side, I definitely started to feel the pinch. And as you can see from this sample invoice for the same 4 videos that used to cost me $660, 3 years later, it would now cost me almost $3,000. And I believe at the time how they charged was they charged a flat rate for any video under 20 minutes. And if it went over 20 minutes, they would charge me a certain amount per minute that went over. Now, flat rates can be both good and bad. It could be a good thing because there's going to be less fluctuations month to month when it comes to your pricing. And also you're going to be able to budget better. Each video is likely going to be around the same amount. But one of the bad things about flat rates on the creator side is whether a video is 10 minutes or 20 minutes, it's still going to cost the same. Whether a video is complex or very basic, it's also still going to cost the same. And that is also why a lot of video editors might like to charge flat rates because it's also steady income for them. Now, eventually I parted ways with that video editor, and then I worked with other video editors that charged an hourly rate. And I've worked with a handful of video editors that charge hourly rates, and the range that I've paid has been from $10 an hour up to $20 an hour. Now, even though you know the rate that you're paying per hour, the total amount that you pay every single month or for every single video is going to really depend on these factors. How much raw footage is the editor going to need to go through? For example, with vlogs, I always found them to be a lot more expensive because I am sending hours and hours and hours of video footage for my video editor to comb through, which then eats up a lot of time. And this is also why I have a very specific way of how I film my sit-down videos that I've shared in this video, for example, where I walk you through the process on how I film my YouTube videos. I typically never film my sit-down videos in one full take because I know if I film in one full take, I'm gonna have like a 2-hour long video that my editor is going to need to comb through. And instead, I film my videos in chunks. So I'll look at my script, I'll read out the first section of my video, and then I'll stop recording. Then I'll look at my script and read out the second section of my video and stop recording. Now, if I end up making a big mistake in one of the sections, all I have to do is delete the clip from my video so I don't have to necessarily start over, and then I just refilm that section specifically. And what ends up happening is I end up having 10 to 20 clips that I know for sure are usable, and that way I'm saving my video editor time of combing through a bunch of mistakes. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean I never make a mistake, and here's an example of little minor mistakes that I've made. Now, the next contract that you're either going to want to sign or send. But as you can see, those mistakes are easily editable. Whereas really big mistakes, such as me blanking out or saying the wrong thing or taking a long time to recover, those things I typically delete so that my video editor will never have to use that footage. This method really helps you save a lot of time, which then saves a lot of money. The next factor that's going to impact the cost of your videos, especially if you're working with a video editor that's charging hourly, is how much motion graphics are you wanting for your video. So for example, I had this video where it had very heavy B-roll, it had a lot of screen shares, it was a very complicated video to edit, and so it took a lot more hours for my video editor to make that video. Whereas more basic videos like this, it's going to cost me a lot less because it's not going to take up a lot of time. And as you can see from these two invoices, this one video that was really complex costed me $600, whereas these 3 videos costed me $800. And the only difference is the complexity of the actual video. The next factor that's going to impact the final invoice that you end up paying is how many videos are you wanting to upload per month. The frequency matters. So if you're only uploading once a week, it's definitely going to cost you less than uploading twice a week. Now, a misconception is when you hire a video editor, you think that your video editor has to edit every single video that you do. But if you want to cut on costs, you can just outsource the more complex videos to your video editor, and then the more simple videos you can edit yourself. And if you want to learn how to edit your own videos, here's a video that I did about how I edit in a very simple way. And so make sure you check out my video editing tutorial after you finish watching this video. Now, to get an idea of your actual budget, let's say you found someone who's willing to edit your videos for $15 an hour. What you then want to do is really share with them current videos that you have or inspirational videos that you want to emulate, and then ask them how long they think it's going to take them to edit that style of video. And also make sure you let them know how often or how many videos that you're going to be uploading every single week. From there, that video editor should be able to give you an estimate of hours. So let's say they're like, hey, based on what you've sent me, it's probably going to take me about 20 hours per week if you're uploading a video every single week. And so in that case, at $15 an hour at 20 hours a week, you're then going to be able to know that it's going to cost you $1,600 a month for the style of videos that you want and for the frequency that you want with that specific video editor. Now, let's say you have sticker shock over $1,600 a month. Well, just know that you can negotiate and you can say, hey, actually, my budget is closer to $1,500 or $1,200 a month or $1,000 a month. And so with that, what can we change about the style of video in order for me to meet the budget? And so that way your video editor can say, well, the videos that you sent me as inspo, you might not notice this, but the motion graphics that they're using is quite complex. And so if you want to save a little bit of time and money, you're going to want to change to this style of editing. And so that way you can kind of collaborate with your video editor to see what type of style would better suit your budget. And if you guys can't find an agreement, then you're going to have to either decrease the frequency of videos that you do, increase your budget, or find someone else to do the style of video you want for a cheaper price. Beyond that, another way that you can manage your budget with your video editor is be very clear with them that you can only spend an X amount of dollars per month on video editing. And so whenever you give them videos, ask them to notify you when they think it might go over budget so that they can let you know before they actually start editing the video. So for example, this video right here where I was talking about Notion, it was actually over my budget in terms of the hours that I wanted my video editor to spend on it. But I agreed that this video was important because in this video, I'm actually selling a Notion template. And so in my mind, I was willing to invest more in that video because I was making a direct sale and I knew that I was going to make that money back. And in fact, I did because I was selling Notion templates and the money that I made from the Notion templates basically paid for the video editing and more. Now, if you're still sticking around, I'm assuming that you are someone who is still interested in hiring a video editor and you're ready to invest. So your next natural question is, where do I actually find video editors and how do I hire them? Now, here are the places that have worked for me. Number one, my own community. My first ever video editor was actually someone who was subscribed to my channel, joined my Facebook group that I created, and I put out a post saying I needed a video editor. They were up for it, and that's how we started working together. And hiring someone who already watches your videos or is within your community is a really huge plus because they already know your vibe, they already know what you're about, and they're passionate. They actually want to be a part of your team. And so this is usually the number one place that I like to look for video editors. Now, I totally understand that not everyone has a community yet to tap into, so let me share other places that you can find great editors. The second one is referrals. And I like referrals because you already have someone that has pre-vetted that video editor. I've learned that no matter how good a video editor is, sometimes working with them could be a whole different story. Maybe their communication is bad, maybe they're shady, maybe they're rude, and so that really affects the working relationship. Now, one thing that I will be honest with you is a lot of YouTubers are hesitant to share the current video editors that they're working with. And the reason why is because when we really love a video editor, we typically want them to edit our videos exclusively and maybe get to a place where they're working full time. And if we are constantly referring people to the editors that are editing our videos, then they're gonna get booked out and they're not gonna be able to edit our videos. And so sometimes that can be a problem. So I recommend that when you are approaching someone about who's edited their videos, it's better to ask them who has edited their videos in the past rather than asking who their current video editor is. Now, there are some people who may be able to share that information, but not a lot of people do. The next place where I've had success hiring a video editor is Upwork. And I really like platforms like Upwork because the pricing is very transparent and you're able to know right away whether or not you can afford someone or not. Now, what you can do is you can either hire someone directly by searching up YouTube video editor, look at people's portfolios, look at people's rates, and then contact them directly. You can also pay by project. So if you actually click on projects within Upwork and then type in YouTube video editing, you're going to be able to find people that's going to be able to edit your video for a flat rate and have a decent turnaround time. This is a really great way for you to test the waters. Or you can also put up a job posting and have people on Upwork apply directly to you. That way you're going to be able to see who's interested in actually working with you, and then you can choose from the people that are interested. And later on, I'm going to talk about how to choose a video editor and how to actually do test projects. So make sure you keep watching. The next place where I've had success in hiring video editors is OnlineJobs.ph. And if you're not familiar with it, it's basically a job site for a lot of talented workers in the Philippines. And it's also very transparent on the amount of hours that they want, as well as the rates that they are charging. I find that OnlineJobs.ph to be really great because a lot of the workers there are looking for longer term placements. Now, regardless of where you find your potential video editor, I want to show you how to screen your video editor and vet them before you fully commit to paying full price. Now, the first step is typically creating a job description. This is especially true if you are someone who is going to be posting a job description and you want people to apply to the role. Now, you can use ChatGPT to create one. And just to give you a guideline, when I create my job descriptions, I typically have a little blurb on what the role is about, what the responsibilities are, which is basically the tasks that they'll be doing, what are the results that I'm hoping for when they join the team, and also what are the requirements needed for them to be successful in the role. This could include specific software that they're using or maybe specific qualities that they need to have. Now, sometimes you want to share the exact hourly rate that you're budgeting for this role, and other times you may want to keep that private until the candidate actually applies. The reason why some people might want to do this is because they don't want to scare away potential high quality candidates, and They want to know what they're charging, and maybe if it's actually the right fit, you may be willing to increase that budget for the right person. And so if that's you, another way that you can do this is you can create a form and embed it into the job posting. And in this form, it's going to ask the candidate basic questions and also include a section that asks them what their expected hourly rate is. That way you're able to get a full range of candidates, look at their portfolio, which by the way, you should also be asking them to embed some of the most proudest work that they've done when it comes to video editing. And that way you have just more selection and you're able to gauge how much your budget should be. Now, the next step is once you have a pool of candidates, you're going to want to shortlist from that pool. And how you shortlist is basically looking at their portfolio. What do you like? What do you not like? And also whether or not you have enough budget to afford this certain candidate. Now, once you've shortlisted, you then want to do a test project. And this is exactly why I only really pick my top 3 candidates, because I typically do paid test projects so that it's fair and that I'm showing the candidate that I respect their time. Now, if you're someone who doesn't know what a test project is, it's basically allowing the video editor to do a sample edit. And that way you can actually see the work of your top 3 editors and choose from there. And so what I'll typically do is I will give the same 1-minute clip to all 3 of the editors that I'm considering hiring. I will give the same exact brief and I will give 1 round of review. And when it comes to payment, I set a limit. So I will say this test project is going to be $15 an hour with a cap of 2 hours. And so that means this test project will cost about $30 per candidate. Now you might think, oh my gosh, I don't want to pay for test projects, but I have found that doing a test project is crucial and well worth it in order for you to filter through who is a good editor for you. Because even though a video editor has a really great portfolio, their communication style could be really bad. And that's what the test project is going to filter out. Or you have candidates that give you a portfolio, but it's actually not their work. And so this allows them to actually show you whether or not they can truly edit videos. Not only this, the test project allows you to really gauge whether or not they understand feedback, and that's exactly why I give 1 round of review. Because it's not just about the final quality of the video, it's also how they respond to feedback, whether or not they can successfully implement it, and how fast they can actually turn around the deliverable within the set amount of time. So you're really testing other qualities that they have. Now, at this point, your candidates would have submitted the test project deliverable, and it's going to be quite easy to choose which one did the best. And so you just pick the one that you liked best, and then you onboard them, which is what we're going to be talking about next. Now, let's say you don't have any success with either of the candidates, whether all those candidates did not submit a test project, or you just didn't like any of their work. Then you're going to want to find a different method. Now, that method could look like going onto Upwork and actively reaching out to editors that you know are looking for jobs and doing something similar where you pay your top 3 editors that you filter through on Upwork and give them the same 1-minute clip and allow them to edit that video. That way you're really hedging the risk because it's only a 1-minute video. It's not going to cost you that much. And based on the 3 editors that you found on Upwork, you can then choose the one that you liked the best and then move forward from there. So just know that if you don't have success doing a job posting, remember to be proactive and actually reach out to editors as well. Now, at this point, you would have hopefully selected someone that you want to work with. But before giving them a video to edit, you're gonna want to properly onboard them. The first step is going to be sending contracts. Now, the first contract that I always like to send is an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Now, you might think that this is really intense, but let me tell you why an NDA is important. I'll give you an example. I am starting a new business and I'm gonna have my video editor edit vlogs for that business. And in the raw footage of that vlog, we're gonna be talking about future product launches or proprietary information. Without an NDA, my video editor could be telling all their friends or all their social media followers what my plans are for my business. And that is definitely not something that I would want. But beyond that, an NDA can also protect your reputation. Let's say you're having a bad filming day or you're vlogging and you say some off-the-cuff thing or you're not acting as your best self, you wouldn't want your video editor to take a clip of that, post it on YouTube, and defame your character. And so by having an NDA, it ensures that whatever footage your video editor has access to remains private and is not something that they can share or talk about with other people. Now, the next contract that you're either going to want to sign or send is an independent contractor agreement. Now, most contractors will already send you this, and usually it will include the scope of work, what's included, what's not included, how often they're going to invoice you, yada, yada, yada. But if they don't send you that information, you could also send one for yourself as well. And so an example is whenever I send an independent contractor contractor agreement, it will also include clauses like a non-solicitation clause. So back then when I worked with a lot of clients and I had a lot of private client databases, a non-solicitation clause basically means that my video editor isn't allowed to go into my CRM, my customer relationship management system, get all the emails of my clients, and then suddenly cold email every single one of them about her services. That is not allowed. And so that's what I make sure that I put in my independent contractor agreements. Now, if you are someone who doesn't necessarily have access to an NDA or independent contractor agreement, I got mine from Nina the lawyer. And so make sure you click the link in my description box below if you would like to download one of her legal templates. I downloaded these years ago, and to this day, I still use them whenever I hire a new video editor. Another thing that you're gonna want to do as a part of the onboarding process before someone edits your video is agreeing on time tracking. Now, time tracking for me is really important, especially if a video editor is charging me hourly. What this basically means is I require my video editors to use apps like Toggle or Time Doctor to track their hours while they're editing the videos. That way, when they invoice me and they attach their time tracking sheet, I'm able to have a better understanding of which videos took how many hours and which tasks took how many hours. This gives me information to know whether or not we're being efficient, what things I can cut, or it also gives me peace of mind knowing that someone's not just charging me like an absorbent amount of money and I have no data to understand why it's that amount. But beyond that, knowing exactly how many hours each video takes a video editor to do is also really helpful for you to budget. So let's say based on the time tracking, I know that tutorial heavy style videos take longer than, tip-based sit down videos. Then if let's say in 1 month, I don't have a lot of budget to spend, then maybe I will reconsider not doing tutorial based videos that month and do a different style of video that's gonna cost me less or cost less hours instead. Now, once it's agreed upon on what time tracking app you might want to use or whether or not you guys are gonna be time tracking, which I do really, really recommend, the next thing is agreeing on what communication platforms to use. Now, for me, the basic communication platform for day-to-day comms I use is Slack. But when I first started working with a video editor, we were communicating through WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. So it doesn't need to be that fancy. Slack is just what works for me. And it also works for most people if they have more than one team member on their team.
Now, when it comes to how I use Slack to communicate with my video editor, I will just go into our private channel and then I will type in the date that my video is going to need to be posted on YouTube. I will go into my calendar and get the title of that video, paste it there. And then where I put my raw files is usually in frame.io, which we will talk about later, but I will take that folder where all my raw files are for the video, and then I will hyperlink it, bold it, and then send it into our channel. So it will look like that. From there, as you can see, a lot of the conversations actually happen within the thread itself. That way, in the Slack channel, it's organized because now it's not just a full-blown conversation. There's actually titles for each video, and then we can easily access the conversation for each video inside the thread itself.
Now, of course, there is day-to-day communications, and in which case we use those apps, but there is also communication when it comes to the back and forth of giving video feedback. And later on, I'm going to talk more about frame.io and how I use it. But if your editor is not using frame.io, they usually have something else that they're using. And so I recommend just doing whatever your video editor thinks is most efficient for them. Now, as the final part of onboarding, it is sending your general video guidelines. Now, I personally find this to be the most fun part, so let me walk you through how I create my video guidelines to give a good direction for my video editor.
So when it comes to the video editing guidelines, you could do this on a Google Doc, but I've chosen to do it over on Notion. It's just a simple page, nothing fancy, but the first thing includes any login. So I'll give passwords to things like frame.io and then also Epidemic Sounds. Epidemic Sounds is where we get our royalty-free, copyright-free music from. And so I always make sure my video editors have access to that. I then also put in my brand guidelines. So this is just my general brand guidelines when it comes to what fonts I use, what typography, what is the color palette of my brand. Depending on the video editor, I like to show this just so they have a guideline, but I'm not super picky about this, to be honest. And if you're wondering on how I embed this, over on Notion, you can just do the backspace and then hit PDF, and then you're going to be able to embed any PDF that you have. Then afterwards, I share some general video guidelines. This is consistent throughout every video of what I require, such as color grading, balancing the audio, removing all pauses to make the video more engaging, removing any additional mistakes, adding B-roll. I personally do a lot of longer sit-down videos that could be a little bit visually boring, and so I always want to make sure that the video editor knows that my expectation is to fill it up with as much B-roll as possible to keep it engaging. Add light music when necessary, but not to the point where it's distracting for you guys. Add text titles to any key points so they know that's an expectation. Adding any transitions or animations, zoom in and zoom outs where they think fit, and then any funny edits to add more personality. I'm someone who really values humor, and so I always want my video editors to know this and inject any humorous parts if they can. I also embed music inspiration, so I will share some videos that I watch from other YouTubers that have music that they use that I really like the vibe of. For example, I'm personally someone that likes R&B, something that's more upbeat. Lo-fi hip-hop I also really like, and anything K-pop inspired I also really enjoy as well. When it comes to video editing inspiration, I do mainly talking head videos or vlogs. And so when it comes to talking head videos, I personally like more girly editing. I want them to add light music that's not overly overpowering. And also, I take note of what I want people to feel when they watch my videos. I want you guys to feel inspired, like you guys can do what I'm teaching you yourselves. I want you guys to feel motivated and happy. I don't really want sad vibes in my videos. I also embed videos of other creators that I really like the editing style of. And for the ones that I super like, I will highlight that in yellow so my video editor can zone in on that. And I also explain why I like those videos. So in this video right here from this girl, I really liked how the editing highlights her personality, making her videos more engaging. Or with this video, I really liked how there's a lot of B-roll integration. I like the fonts that she used to explain her key points. I love that there was humor mixed in with a lot of zoom ins and zoom outs and transitions. And I also mentioned that I also like the title sections. Now, beyond just sharing with a video editor what you like, it's also important to share what you don't like so your video editor can avoid that style. So in my case, I don't like it when the editing is too masculine or seems very commercial. I also don't like using stock B-roll. I try to avoid it if I can. And so I've linked videos of other creators where I don't really think the style of video is to my particular taste. I've even shared videos that I've posted in the past that looking back, I actually don't really like the video style of. And I think that this is important to share because sometimes your video editor will do a lot of research on you and look at past videos that you've done and assume that's what you like. But over time, seasons change, preferences change. And so I could kind of make it clear that, hey, I want you to follow a whole new vibe than I was doing before. Now, when it comes to vlogs, I also do something very similar where I share the vlogs that I really like. Now, personally, I haven't really gotten into vlogs quite yet, and so I haven't really fleshed this out as much as I should have. Finally, I also include thumbnail inspiration of things that I like. So here I've shared some thumbnails that I personally gravitate towards, the aesthetic, the style of them, and I also have shared thumbnails that I don't like. Including thumbnails that I've also done in the past as well. So I hope that this gives you inspiration on things that you can include in your video editing guidelines. And also remember that this can be done on a Google Doc as well, and it doesn't have to be on Notion necessarily.
All right, so are you still watching this video? Because if you are, I wanna know. This is a very long and comprehensive video, and so make sure you comment the word nugget. And by the way, Nugget is sleeping right here in the comment section below, so I know that you got to this most exciting part. And that is, how do you actually give feedback to a video editor? How do you actually communicate with them? And so when I am filming my videos, as I mentioned earlier, I only film my videos in chunks, especially if it's a sit down video like this one. I will then have 10 to 20 clips that I can send to my video editor. And how I send them to my video editor is I use frame.io. So after creating a frame.io account, I will create a folder and then I will name the folder the title of my video. I typically grab the title idea from my Notion content calendar, and my Notion content calendar is something that my video editor also has access to. It has a list of all of my upcoming video ideas and also the date that I want to publish. This allows my video editor to know what's ahead. But anyways, I copy and paste the title of the video into the folder, and then I will drop all of the clips that I have into the folder. Now, if I am working with a brand new video editor, what I will request from them first is a rough cut. Now, what exactly is a rough cut? A rough cut is basically the video editor stringing together all these clips that I've given them, removing any super obvious mistakes, doing color grading, and also adjusting the audio levels. It's basically the most basic version of the video. There is no B-roll, there is no music, there is no text, there is no screenshots, no nothing. Usually, because it's such an easy edit, the following day, my video editor will ping me that the rough cut is ready, and they will drop it also in frame.io for me to review. Now, the reason why I like the rough cut is because I'm able to see the video in full now, and then I'm able to actually brief the video editor on what I want for each specific part of the video. And again, this process, as I explain it, might seem really hands-on and micromanagey, but I have found this to be the most effective way to actually show someone what my preferences are. Now, if you are someone who already has a great relationship with your video editor, they basically know you like the back of the hand, you can basically skip this part. Or if you are someone who doesn't even know what direction you want the video and you don't have a clear vision and you just want to fully trust the video editor's taste, then you can also skip the rough cut here as well. But for me personally, the rough cut is something that I enjoy doing when I am working with a new video editor or when I am pivoting and I'm trying a new concept. Anyways, when I get the rough cut, I will watch it at 1.75x speed, and that's my little hack for you is watch the video as fast as you can so that you can give feedback a lot more efficiently and you don't have to waste a lot of time. But as I watch the video, I will start leaving my comments, really specify where I want text to be, where I want specific B-roll to be, extra screenshots, graphics, etc. And sometimes I will also use the markup feature in frame.io where I can specifically circle the areas where I want things to show up. And that's why I really, really love frame.io. Another way to be more efficient as well is sometimes when you're doing a video, you may have a lot of B-roll that you think that you need to film afterwards. And so as I'm doing the review, I will say, Vanessa to provide B-roll of X. And I'll just keep doing that throughout the video. And then afterwards, I will then search up Vanessa to provide as the keyword. I'm going to be able to see the exact list of B-roll that I'm going to need to film after reviewing this video. Once the B-roll is filmed, or let's say the B-roll is already ready, I'm then going to drop all of the B-rolls that I have into a folder called B-roll/graphics, and then take the link that's there and paste it in all the sections where I said I would provide B-roll graphics or screenshots. I really like this with frame.io because I don't have to wait for the file to be officially uploaded before I can actually send the link. And so this really speeds up the time. Back then, when I used to do video reviews using Google Docs, it was a nightmare because I would have to wait for Google Drive to upload my B-roll before I could even get access to the link to share it. Another reason why I do it this way is because I find it to be way less efficient if you're reviewing the video, dropping B-roll at the same time and all of that. So I like to focus instead on doing one thing at a time. If I'm just giving feedback on frame.io, I am focused on that. And then afterwards, when it comes to actually sourcing all of the screenshots, the graphics, and all those things that I want, I will then do that later. And so that way I'm really maximizing my time. Now, one thing is as you do more videos, you're going to notice that you often repurpose the same B-rolls or the same screenshots or the same graphics. So in order to make this more efficient, my recommendation is on Frame.io to create a new project or a new folder that's called most common B-roll and graphics, and then start really categorizing and dropping your most commonly used B-roll, graphics, screenshots, yada, yada, yada. This way, in the future, if you want to empower your video editor to edit videos on their own without you hand-holding them, there's not going to be a huge bottleneck of them asking you for B-roll, and instead they have a whole library of things to choose from. And also, from an efficiency standpoint, if you want to keep providing feedback, it's also going to be a lot easier for you to access all of this B-roll rather than refilming every single time. But basically, once you get the next draft, you're then going to provide further feedback. Usually this is going to be way less than the initial video that you were briefing on. A lot of times the feedback that's in this draft is usually you catching mistakes, or maybe your video editor didn't interpret your feedback properly, or maybe you made a mistake and provided the wrong file. So a lot of times that's where I will be giving that type of feedback. Now, after this, the next video that you're going to receive is likely going to be the final draft. This is where you can leave your last minute comments if you need to, but this is more of you making sure that it is all good to upload onto YouTube. Once they upload the video, I'm then able to then optimize the video. And if you have any questions or you want to know my checklist on how to optimize my YouTube videos, make sure you check out this video where I showed the 18 things that I do to my YouTube videos after I've uploaded them on YouTube to get more views. Now, once the video is not just uploaded, but it's also been publicly published, the next thing that I will do to save space and reduce my costs is I will then delete all of the raw files that I put into frame.io. Now, in my last 6 years of doing YouTube, I have never really needed to access raw files again, other than maybe vlog footage. But when it comes to sit down videos, I usually don't need them ever again. So I will delete all of the raw footage. I will also delete all of the drafts that we did. And the only thing that I will leave inside frame.io is the final version of the video, and also my b-rolls and graphics and screenshots and all of that, because typically I may need to use them in the future. Now, at this point of the video, I really shared the entire process of how I work with my video editors. I don't think I really missed a single thing. But beyond video editing, there's also other things that you can ask your video editor to help you with. Now, you should have made this clear initially in the job description, but I want to share some tasks that I have had video editors help me with. What I have found is some video editors are also really gifted in graphic design. And so I've had my video editors do my video thumbnails. And I really like working with my video editors on this because they watch the whole video, they know the context of the video, and they know how to market the video. And so that's just one way of maximizing your video editor. Now, if you find that your video editor's rate is like $50 an hour, you could technically find someone else to do your thumbnails for cheaper, or you can do your thumbnails yourself. And if you want to learn how to outsource thumbnails or do them yourself, make sure you watch this video where I walk through the entire tutorial on how to edit your own thumbnails on Canva, and also the exact process on how to outsource thumbnail creation on Upwork. What I've also noticed in the past is some video editors also have admin experience or a little bit of social media experience. And so in the past, I've also asked them to upload my video on YouTube with the title, the description, keywords, chapters, info cards already done. But sometimes that's not a good use of their time because you're taking away time that they could be doing editing your videos. So you might be better off doing it yourself or hiring another VA for maybe even a lower rate to do admin tasks for you. So far in this video, I've really shared what it's like working with a new video editor for the first time. But obviously, after a few videos, you're going to be able to pick up on whether or not this relationship is improving or not improving, and you're gonna need to find a new video editor because things aren't working out. So let's talk about how to know if things are improving. Now, obviously, I shared a really intense version of what it's like being really hands-on with feedback, but realistically, after a while, things should be a little bit more efficient. You should be spending less time doing feedback. There should be less rounds of feedback. Your video editor might not even need to send you the rough cut, and you kind of get to a place where you send the raw files and they already know what you want for that specific style of video. And what I mean by this is when you're working with a video editor, you should be doing at least 2 to 3 videos of a certain style before that video editor can really get a grasp on what your preferences are. So for example, you've done 2 to 3 videos where it's more of a vlog style. Well, then at that point on the 3rd video, your video editor should have done enough to know what you want for your vlogs. Or let's say 2 to 3 tutorial based styles. At that point, that video editor should be more well trained on that tutorial style video. Or let's say 2 to 3 style of the podcast real talk videos. Then at that point, that video editor should also know what to expect and what to do for that style. And so that's why you can't necessarily say that a video editor isn't good or improving if you keep changing up the style. They need some time to really acclimate to each style of video that you decide to do. And also, if you ever decide to pivot or do a new style every single time you do a video, then it's not necessarily going to help your video editor understand what your true preferences are because they keep changing. And so you're going to expect yourself to keep giving feedback all the time. But if you are consistent in the style of video, your feedback should be a lot less over time and there should be less rounds of feedback as well. Another important thing that I look for in video editors is good communication. So even if you have the best video editor, the end result is really great. If the process of working with them is not so great, that's also a really good sign that you may be better off working with someone else who maybe has less of a video editing skill, but better communication skills, so the entire process isn't as anxiety inducing. So for example, you want to make sure that your video editor is communicative in a sense where if they know they're going to be missing a deadline, that they let you know right away so that you're not just waiting around for the video. I've had that happen to me many times before where a video editor told me that the video would be ready by X date. I block off everything in my calendar and the whole day I'm just waiting for the video and I don't get it and they don't tell me and I'm just like, where are they? I don't know if they're working on the video and it's just like super anxiety inducing. I'm someone who doesn't necessarily mind missing deadlines every so often, but I do mind being surprised that I'm missing a deadline. You know what I mean? And so you kind of want to make sure that video editor communicates with you properly. A good video editor is also someone who is able to manage your expectations, especially if they know that you are on a specific budget. And so you never really want to see an invoice and be like completely shocked that a video is way over your budget. And that is also on you from the get-go to really communicate what your expectations are and make sure you let your video editor know that, hey, if you're already at like 75% of your hours, make sure you let me know right away so we can adjust my expectations. Another way that you can see that your video editor was well worth it and the relationship is improving is if they genuinely make your videos better. I know for me, the moment that I hired a video editor, my retention chart improved. And also I was able to see many more positive comments in the comment section. A lot of people were raving about the video editing. They enjoyed the style. They watched till the end, or they got really great value from it because they watched more of the video. And so that is a good indication that you hiring a video editor was well worth it. Another great quality of a video editor that exceeds expectations is when the video editor actually cares, and for any video that they're editing, they actually pay attention to the comments. So some of my most favorite video editors are the ones that take time out of their day to watch the videos on my channel that they specifically edited, and they take note of your feedback. I've had a video editor say, hey, a lot of people were saying that they didn't like these glitchy edits, and so next time I'm not going to do them. Or let's say, hey, I noticed that people really liked this about the video and how I edited it, so I'm going to keep doing that for the future videos. And so that to me is a quality that I really appreciate with video editors, and if your video editor does that, then I think you have a really good one on your hands. Now, on the flip side, how do you know when things aren't working out? Now, the first thing is the video editor is making silly mistakes that is costing you money. Now, making mistakes is fine, especially when you are first working with a new video editor that's learning your preferences. But what I've found that hasn't worked for me is when I give feedback and it's not implemented, and then I give feedback again and it's still not implemented. And anytime a mistake is made, I'm basically paying for the time it takes to correct that mistake. And so it's different if I was the one that gave bad feedback or if I was the one that gave the wrong link. And so I'm totally fine with that and I take ownership of that and I'm okay with paying for that. But if a video editor is just a little bit careless or not as detail oriented and it's costing you money because they're taking more time fixing mistakes and actually making the video better, then that is a red flag. Now, another red flag is if you feel like you're spending more time providing feedback and reviewing the video to the point where you think that you could just be editing videos yourself or hire someone who is a little bit more efficient or the turnaround time is faster. Now, again, in the beginning, it's really normal for you to spend more time on this, but if you've worked with a video editor and you've done at least like 5 to 6 videos together and it's not improving, then it might be a sign that you would be better off hiring someone who's a little bit more efficient or is a little bit more proactive. So for example, after 3 to 5 videos, I would expect that my video editor kind of understands the vibe that I'm looking for and can anticipate my needs. So for example, I don't want to be the one that's always telling my video editor, okay, add music here, or do a transition here, or add a title here, or delete this mistake. I feel like at least within 3 to 5 videos, they should already know how to do that. And it should get to a place where they're actually enhancing the video. And so not only are they doing the basic edits of what they know that you're going to want, they're also adding their creativity and their flair to it so that with every video, it's almost like getting better. And you get to a place where you just trust your video editor. You just send the raw files. You don't need a rough cut. You do like 1 to 2 reviews and then you're done. That is my expectation when working with a video editor, especially if you've already done at least 5 videos together. The next red flag is consistently missing deadlines. And usually this is because this video editor is at capacity and they probably took on more than they can chew. This actually happened to me recently. So I had batched all of my videos for my 6-part YouTube series, and I thought that we would be on time every single week with the upload. But unfortunately, with the video editor I hired, even though I batched all these videos in advance, we were still missing weekly uploads because, you know, something would come up or there would be a delay or it would take them longer to edit the actual video. And of course, that didn't work out for me because I really wanted to be sure that I'm uploading every single week. And I actually had a lot more videos that I wanted this video editor to do. And so in my opinion, if we were unable to even do 1 video a week and be consistent on that deadline, then I really started to worry whether or not that video editor was going to be able to fulfill the future projects that I had in mind. And so what we ended up doing, because this video editor is really amazing and I really enjoy working with them, we decided to transition this video editor into my other business, Super Boba, and have them edit short form videos for Super Boba instead, because this video editor really only had 20 hours a week to spare, and I guess they didn't realize how long it would take them to do my long form videos. Finally, the next red flag is something that I think is a controversial one, but I'm gonna say it anyways because it is the reality of what I've faced and many other of my creator friends have faced as well. And that is when their prices start to stop you from wanting to make videos. And so earlier in this video, I talked about my experience working with my initial video editor, and over time, they started increasing their rates because they decided to scale up their business and become an agency. And they started working with a lot of clients. And on the friendship side, I was really happy for them that they were having such a thriving business, and I wanted to contribute to that. But at the same time, with the rates increasing, it was really hard for me to swallow that monthly invoice. And it got to a place where I actually wanted to make less videos in order to keep the video editor, make sure I'm supporting their business, and all of that. But at the end, it was still hurting my channel because I was limiting the vision that I had for my channel. And unfortunately, they had gotten to a rate that I just simply couldn't budget for. And so that's when I knew that it was time to move on. And sometimes it's a really hard pill to swallow because you really grow such a strong relationship with your video editor. But at the same time, I have had instances where I've negotiated rates with video editors that I have really, really long-standing relationships with. And that is why when you work with a video editor, you really want to invest in them too. And you want to really build a good relationship. Because there have been times where I've worked with video editors that are willing to work with me because they like me as a client. And you would be surprised to know that there's some video editors that have clients that treat them like shit. And so even though they're getting paid by this other client, if they're not having a good relationship with them, they would rather work with a client that may have a smaller budget but treats them really well. And so just know that when you're working with a video editor, you also need to understand that it's a collaboration, it's a partnership. They're helping you build your channel. And so when it's their birthday, do something for them. Or when it's Christmas, say happy Christmas and think about their family. Like really treat them really well, because that has been one way that I've been able to work with video editors that I love and also be able to still have a realistic budget for myself. And the one common denominator is because they like working with me. Oh my gosh, if you have gotten to this point of the video, thank you so much for supporting my channel. I also cannot believe that I have been sitting here for the last 3 hours. This is a very long and comprehensive video, but I hope that you gained something from it. And I also want to make sure that you guys are taken care of. So if you are someone who is looking for a video editor, I want you to comment in the comment section below and let us know. And also drop your Instagram so video editors can reach out to you and let them know that they're looking for clients. And if you are a video editor yourself and you're watching this video and you're looking for clients, do the same thing. Comment in the comment section below, say that you're looking for clients, drop your Instagram, drop your website, drop how someone can get in contact with you, and hopefully through this video, through the viewers who are watching this video, you're gonna be able to book some clients. And if for some reason you've watched to the end of this video and you're not quite ready to hire a video editor yet, then make sure you watch this video next. This video walks through the step-by-step on how to edit your own videos using Descript, and it's what I've been using to edit my own videos back then when I was doing it myself. So make sure you watch this video next. As always, guys, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys, and take care.